Hi everyone, we're back at the gun bench again. I had one viewer request that I take down a Mauser Model 66, which you know I did a video on recently. And other people had asked me the same question in the past. So I thought maybe I'd make a video showing how this Mauser 66 is put together. You know I like the rifle. People correctly observe that Mauser went to a lot of trouble for a sort of minimal return, but it doesn't matter. We're so far from cave and fire. This is all kind of wizardry, and like I said, you could hunt for a lifetime with a Mauser 98 and never need another gun, assuming the right caliber. Anyway, so Mauser 66. What I did is I took it apart, partly because there are 3 screws involved, and that's a lot of turning, and I don't rehearse these videos, and I actually don't know how to edit them properly. I have to learn these things, sorry about that. And so turning screws is not great to watch, but here we go. So this is the Mauser 66 one-piece stock, which I like very much. This one is some kind of higher grade model, and this is typical classical gun making, so it's inletted. You can see that they have a block in the barrel channel. I've seen, this one is aluminum. Yeah, this one's aluminum. I've seen them brass, and I've seen them steel as well. And this is kind of a critical surface because this aligns the barrel, which is here. Oh, and you can obviously see a Blaser R8. Just because a lot of people see similarities. Now, this is a turn bolt, this is a straight pull. Nevertheless, I understand what people are saying when they see some similarities. Anyway, it's always fun looking at guns. So here we go, we've got the one-piece stock, and this bolt is this telescopic system that I showed you before. So this rides forward. This piece here is the action, for lack of a better word. There's no receiver ring because the receiver ring is attached to the barrel. Now here's an interesting thing. I had this gun for a long time sitting in the vault, and it had this barrel on. I'm talking about the Mauser now. And this is an 8x68, which is a great caliber, excellent ballistics, and actually quite old, but anyhow, it sort of predates our magnums. So I took the barrel out and I noticed no recoil lug, which I'm just pointing this out. I don't know what this means. My 243 barrel for the same rifle has the recoil lug, which is kind of funny because the recoil on the 8x68 is a lot more dramatic than the recoil on the 243. Anyway, again, we're doing our best with the camera we have for now, but here's the recess for this recoil lug for the 243, and the 8x68, I'm assuming that the recoil just, you know, is being transferred from here to this surface, if you can make those surfaces out, and then the block on the barrel in this recess, which is not really a great idea because this can function almost like a wedge to split the stock, although it's flat. Anyway, obviously the gun's in excellent condition. That doesn't mean it's been fired much. It probably means it hasn't been fired much, and maybe somebody noticed that there's no recoil lug. Actually, in all the years of collecting, I noticed a lot of times I'll buy a gun that's in supreme condition, and it's because there's something wrong with it, and that sounds like a gun not to buy, but I disagree. I always buy those because it's the condition that matters. Fixing some part is usually no big deal. Anyway, that's another story. So here we have this so-called action, the bolt assembly, and try not to do it in a clumsy way. This just drops in here. That's the action in the stock. This can be, these are fitted tight and can be a little tricky to place, but not today, so that went well. And then you can see it's a typical turn bolt that's not aligned properly. There we go. And so now this is cocked and locked. Here's your safety. Whoops, it's a pivoting safety. It's quite positive. We'll open the action again. You can watch it telescope. I can't describe how smooth this is. It's perfection, that's for sure. So we'll put the trigger in place here. Probably not a bad idea. And now I can do what I was doing to air there. Whoops. And we pull the trigger. Now it's closed, locked together, and not cocked. And then a typical German double set trigger. And then 3 screws, like I said, I won't bother putting them in here, here, and here. So to take this thing apart, very simple, very quick, a lot like the Blasers are now, the R8 and the R93. I guess there's a 5mm. I just used this H&K tool from some other gun. It's convenient. And pop this out, pop that out, and the barrel lifts, and then you can drop in an 8x68. Now, I'm simplifying the story. The bolt heads have to be within a caliber group, as you know. So a 308, 270, 30-06, that's one caliber group, and so on. And they don't have removable bolt heads. This is, as you can see, part of the bolt, which is why I actually like this rifle. This is an old-fashioned walnut and steel rifle. Is there any plastic on here? I don't think so. I don't think there's any plastic. The aluminum block is the only non-carbon steel thing that I can see. Anyhow, great rifle. And we'll set this aside. So if you want me to do something else with this thing, let me know. But that gives you a good idea of how it comes apart. And then now we'll switch to the Blaser. And of course, this is, I guess people call this a modern technology rifle, and for sure it is. But I would have to say mostly this modern technology is really just modern materials. They wanted to make firearms more cheaply, using cheaper materials, and materials that are easier to manipulate in machining and so on. So that required new technology anyway. I don't know what that means, but the net result is you know, a lot of plastic. The stock is some kind of a polymer. They all have different names. Does the rifle shoot? It shoots like a house on fire. It's fantastic. They all are, these Blasers. So I mean, that's the barrel. There are trapped fasteners in here. I guess you would say it's a type of a nut, because unlike the Mauser, which uses 66, which uses the screws, these studs are in place. The stock basically on the Blaser R8 and R93 is the action, because that's what accommodates the bolt, and that's all there is to that. You all know this, but I'm just going over it again. And then what's this? Okay, this is you can see this is a 458 lot, which I must have been after the Starlings again. And so yeah, these lock together, very simple. And then the magazine and the trigger assembly are one, and that just pops in. And then you tighten these two, like exceptionally simple, easy to operate, and we're all familiar with the Blaser R8. So I hope that gives those viewers who wanted to see these guns taken down, and for me to talk about them in a little more detail. There are other things, of course, that one observes about how they design these rifles, but I don't want to bore you too much. So there it is, takedown and reassembly backwards of the Mauser 66 and the Blaser R8. And as always, thank you for watching. See you later.